Well, thank you. Again, I'm Jeff Adams with Evonik and responsible for operational technology and systems. Just a real quick note about Evonik. There we go. So you can find a little bit of everything we do with our solutions, from automobile parts to animal feed to pharmaceuticals and everything in between. Globally, we're about 32,000 employees and we're present in over 100 different countries. This next slide is about our thirst for data, and it necessitates all kind of connectivity, and as we increase connectivity, it expands the attack surfaces. Some of the examples of that, one would be straight from the internet if there's some kind of direct access to any kind of control system. The second would be an external attack through the internet, but maybe through the office network, because we have users sitting in there that also have pathways in. The third would be an IT infected system, something in the office that has access and is in a rogue condition. And the other attacks are the physical and things that can be done locally on the site. This next slide, I think most of you have seen some flavor of this. We've seen Stuxnet. We saw how that was propagated. We saw Triton and the attack on safety systems. And now we're seeing the more, I guess, diverse ways of coming in with email phishing, whether that's just a broadcast or more of a targeted phishing, where they can even get, say an organizational chart, and all of a sudden the email comes from the president of the company. And it says, we need this updated, we need it updated quickly, please click here, update. As soon as you click, they're in. So it's a lot about education. One of our most recent instances involved a trusted supplier with a support laptop that had an infected virtual machine. And he would come and go, so we'd clean it up and everything was hunky-dory, then all of a sudden it came back. So it took a little while to figure that out, but again, processes and procedures can help with that. And that leads us to our weakest link in that chain when we talk about social engineering, which is our people and their knowledge, because most people just don't have a deceiving mind. So it's not that you're trying to create it, but you're trying to create them and make them aware of it. And you do that through constant and continuous education. One of the ways we've done this, say in our monthly department meetings, in addition to everybody starts off with a good safety topic and you focus on that, but then we've also added a little security topic where they get a dose of it and think about things they might not normally be faced with and have a chance to be prepared for that. On this cybersecurity approach, just some ideas about the target groups. You can, say, classify your users differently. So you have standard users, maybe they don't have any special access, or you have people who have supporting roles and they have access to more information. Maybe they need a little more security, a little more training, maybe a little more testing, maybe I'd say an inside email with phishing to see if they're susceptible to that and make sure your education is working in that regard. And then you have the people who have more control and more access and really need maybe additional software above and beyond what you normally have throughout the enterprise to help protect them. The key word on this page is scope. You have to have a clear scope, and it's required for success in cybersecurity. You have to know what's in, you have to know what's out, and you have to know what your target is. The assets in the OT domain consist of assets and personnel and procedures, so how we act with that. And the assets can be found across the enterprise when we talk about the OT world, and be in production plants, laboratories, pilot plants, logistics systems. The asset owner is the primarily responsible. So the biggest part here is to clearly identify the asset owner. As we start to talk about IT and OT, we have a significant overlap. And if we have everyone responsible, we know that no one's responsible. So that's a key piece, is somebody has to, at the end of the day, we're going to shake hands between IT and OT, but somebody has to own this and be clearly defined and identified so that there's no assumption about where that responsibility lies. In this solution with cybersecurity, there's really no one size fits all. You have to take a risk-based approach and work with a framework and standards to formulate that together. put those risk-based analysis, the standards, and come up with what fits your risk tolerance profile with your binding technical documents and then any technical standards you want to put behind that. And the risk analysis has to line up with what the business continuity plan. So there's some levers in there for the business to control just exactly how they deal with it and how much they put into it, but then they have that ability to control it. With those technical standards and documents, it forms the framework for a security management system. And this is where you again get to consider your plant specific. When you talk about the scope, we have a clear scope, and then the risk management is done based on the business continuity plans and lined up. And then the plan is implemented with technical measures and company standards and best practices. The use of a GRC tool, or governance, risk management, and compliance, allows the integration of the asset management and vulnerability solutions to be able to tie together with those binding technical documents. With this type of system, then you're able to track, measure, monitor for progress, because this is a continual effort. You're never one and done, you keep going. And this is with a good GRC tool, you're able to pull that together and monitor and continue with your progress. And overall, you have a comprehensive cybersecurity platform for a proactive approach. You need to include native integration with your IT, with your systems. They have to be, from the OT perspective, more of a passive solution with network monitoring, baselining, and threat detection alerting. It's important that solution be able to deliver localized alerting so you get a quick response to the incident, because somebody's sitting in a faraway security center that has 2 phone numbers to call and doesn't get an answer, they're kind of dead. Where if you have local alerting, then you have some initial reaction. You can have interface and support with that global system, but you need that local action to take place. Based on what your operating requirements are, you might actually have to come up with a multi-vendor solution. Maybe one vendor doesn't now offer everything you need to make your cybersecurity plan, so be open to that idea. As we all know, the market is rapidly evolving and merging and consolidating, so it's important to stay informed on that, and that's where the use of, say, a consultant or someone to help take your requirements, look at the market, somebody that knows it a little better and can help you decide on which ones might fit your situation best. Okay. That's it for me. Great, thanks.